completed the topo surveys and the survey of the park. I met with Jeff Goodrich from Pathways and Mike Burns the day after Thanksgiving. We went through some maps, looked at the wetland delineations, did all that stuff. Pathways gave Mike Burns access to all their CAD programming online. And the only issue we have right now, which can be resolved fairly quickly, is the actual topography and layout was different than the scale of the map that Mike Burns had drawn. So he's gonna move and overlay the trail on there. There may need to be some slight manipulations of where things are at to make it fit properly. The other thing that I told them to go ahead and just do it if they need to change it to make it work is we're gonna avoid any wetland areas because we don't want to get into wetland permitting, which will really slow this process down. So it doesn't look like there's going to be any major changes, but if the trail needs to flip just a little to stay outside, they'll do that and keep it. So we're just on a shoreline permit, not a wetlands permit.
This is just a question of kind of knowledge, I guess. When you try to avoid wetlands, what would be the way you would do that? Would you be, like, just making the path go around the area kind of
We'll
thing?
just stay outside of that area.
Because I think actually if it ends up being, causing us to have some more curves or something, that's not a bad thing.
No. And
So-
it's, if we get into wetland permitting, we're not gonna get the project done.
Yeah.
So,
But so, just
Yeah.
let Mike know that we don't see that necessarily as a bad thing.
Yeah.
As long as.
I'm sure he already
I
knows.
think
I
it's
already
already
told them
done.
to do
Yeah,
it,
okay,
so.
yeah, I'm just,
I told them, do what you need to do, stay outside the wetlands. I'm not gonna come back to the committee for permission on the changes. We'll just come back and say, here's the changes we had to make this happen. We're moving that forward. They're planning on getting that shoreland permit, hopefully put into DES, and I don't wanna say by the end of the year, but somewhere pretty soon.
The application.
The application for the shoreland permit with all the design and stuff on it.
Shouldn't be as many applications this time of the year, so.
We hope. I'm gonna also push Pathways. As soon as I hear that that's submitted, I'm gonna push them to start getting the RFPs ready. And we can write them in a way that there may be minor changes due to the shoreland permit and DES, but I think we could get those out January, February to get on people's radar for
That would be
spring,
excellent.
summer. So that's really where we're pushing right now. They do know that our goal is to get construction started in the spring sometime to be done. by
As soon as you can
middle
start working things, yeah.
and get that done. They are completing right now. They're not done with it, but they're completing final engineering on the parking lot. And they're talking with Jim Taylor some about stormwater and how and where they want to tip things exactly. The one thing I did hear is the rain garden and the little swale behind the parking area is because we've dumped water back there for years. It's now technically a wetland. So we're gonna keep it that way. It's a man-made wetland, which is okay. We
Yeah.
can work with that. But they wanna keep it where we can dredge it out and clean it, so they're gonna be asking that and directing probably very minimal planting in that area. Just so you guys know,
In the rain garden?
in the rain garden.
so
area.
it's a wetland.
Minimal.
Can't you plant in a wetland? I mean, I know other,
You can, but it stops us from being able to dredge or do anything without getting wetland permits every time we do something. So they're going to be putting that together, the engineers and the wetland scientists of what can and can't be.
I understand that for behind the parking lot, but that one little area that we call a rain garden,
Yep, that's part of it.
you're gonna dredge that
We
too?
may have to, and they're gonna make it so we can do maintenance on it without having to get wetland permits every time we wanna do something. So they'll let you know what we can and can't do there
Okay.
when it's time.
yeah, okay.
But they're working on that. I was on the phone with Jeff and the wetland, just talking about it, and they actually just ran into a huge problem in Lebanon in a very similar situation. Where they tipped a parking lot, created a wetland, and now DES won't let them do anything, and it's a major, major problem.
When we met last week, Conservation Commission did with, the rain garden person, and she brought, I can't think of his last name now. His first name was Rod. But, we went over to the Lakeside Park afterwards and he looked at that. And, he suggested not putting plants there, put bushes there,
Yeah,
trees there.
we'll have to
It
see.
needed a lot more
They
than
won't put
plants.
trees. I
Yeah.
guarantee you there will be no trees in
Yeah.
that area.
But there are some good bushes that absorb the,
Well, it's great stuff to absorb water.
Yes.
And that's what he's talking about, but
Yeah.
the other side of the state, the control side, it's gonna really mess things up and make
Yeah.
problems.
well,
with
that's what
parking
he
lot.
was
So,
in, this guy that looked at it.
Well, DES has many different
Yeah.
arms and they don't.
He's the one for that, for this area, and I can't think of his last name.
Well, he's probably not on the wetland enforcement arm.
I think like the plants that are there now, I think even if you dredged them, they would come back. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't think you're gonna kill
There's
them.
a certain way to do it, and the
Yeah.
wetland scientist guy knew. He just started rattling, here's how we're gonna do it, and it was, okay, you tell us what the plan is, and that's what we'll do.
Yeah, my feeling is, we'll work around whatever,
Yeah.
as long as there will be plants in it of some sort. You know, unless you're just gonna have a
Right.
gravel bed or something, so,
No, I just heard the horror story of the one they did in Lebanon that now they cannot touch, and it's causing problems with the parking lot.
Mhm.
It's- And
Yeah,
it's because they put some certain type of plant there that they're not allowed to maintenance it now. And
Which parking lot was it?
I don't know, I don't remember, but the engineer and the wetland scientists were just talking back and forth. And
so the main thing we could draw from this is that we really need to listen to them around
Yeah.
constraints.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And use that for whatever ideas.
Yeah, and Mike Burns is working with them, so we'll work with him to create a landscaping plan
Yeah.
around those areas that are really sensitive.
Do we have an interim, cost or, any sort of estimate of what we spent so far? The engineering and wetland?
No, I think we have more, and I don't have it with me, of the total cost, and it was somewhere in that $30,000 range is what the engineering. is.
And we had budgeted 20, correct?
Somewhere in that range.
So we,
I don't know exactly what numbers Doug rattled out. When he first told me, he said we had $5,000 budget, and I was like, that's not gonna work. And then he said, no, we have 20,000 over here, and so I don't know what the exact budget is, but it's gonna be somewhere in that $30,000 range for the wetland scientists and the engineering and permitting and all that stuff, so. And then I'd have to look at how Doug broke that out, because if he had engineering separate than the shoreline permit, this is all encompassed in one, so.
Yeah.
So we'd have to look at that, but
Has the design for the parking lot changed from what we saw?
not really, it's just how they engineer everything and where the stormwater is gonna run off the parking lot. I mean, you guys, of course, were tipping back, but that doesn't mean you just tip the whole thing flat back.
Mhm.
You tip in a way to push it where you want it to go and,
And
So
so it's
there-
gonna drain into that wetland area, is that what you're saying?
and behind the parking lot there, there's a.
Uh-huh.
away from the lake.
There's sort of a ditch there
Mhm.
already, yeah.
It's a wetland.
Yeah,
It's a
okay,
man-made wetland.
yeah.
And now
Okay.
it's registered as a wetland with DES and we have to treat it that way, so. That's really the update that I had. I just wanted to let you know it's moving forward. We're getting close to the permitting stage and we're working on those final detailed plans.
What do you need from us? Anything?
Not much. No,
Not much, oh, thank you.
no, I think we're at that point now where
Periodic update, when
It's-
when
yeah.
complete, right?
it's not much from me either. I'm playing kind of in between. I'm on the emails, but I'm, made sure Mike Burns and them were talking and they're emailing back and forth and I'm carbon copied on it and we're just trying to get the permitting done so we can move to the construction phase and
And how's Mike Burns feeling about, things as far
I
as,
think good, yeah. I mean, we had a great meeting on Friday after Thanksgiving. The three of us were at the Lakeside Park meeting and walking around. So we just need to get everything overlaid and lined up.
Put together, yeah.
And then we'll be putting out the RFP, and once we do that, we're not making changes to the park, because we've bid what they're building, so they'll be doing that. And then when we get those prices back and we know what we're doing, then we can look at our overall budget and we'll know what money we have for plantings or benches or anything else we want to buy. But I think the parking lot and the trail is gonna eat up a majority of the budget, if not all of it, so.
But if we get the trail in as well as the parking lot, then we've got the skeleton
Yep.
for the whole park, so. That's good.
Yeah, and then we can really start working on plantings and accessories and those types of things. And
Yeah, and visions for pieces.
Mhm. Okay,
that's where we're at, and I have to run. so.
It looked like you're busy today.
Yeah,
it's probably been busy for a week or two or three.
we had a few problems. We're moving technology today, so that's always a
Uh-huh.
problem.
It would be if I was doing it, so.
We took our servers out of town hall and got a call from the police that their whole computer system was down because
Oh,
they're
dear.
connected, so. Sent the engineers over there. They got the police department back up and running. We went over, plugged in some stuff at La Salette and started blowing breakers. So I called Travis at Defiance Electric. He's coming tomorrow. We're gonna fix the electric in the building.
I think there's gonna be a lot of surprises I don't think La Salette felt obliged
Liam's not
to.
allowed in the building. Earmuffs, Liam, earmuffs. I'm gonna run electric wire tomorrow. That's not the code, okay?
So Ed,
Well, I
what you're
was
saying,
amazed,
It'll be more to code than what's there.
I was amazed at how empty things are beginning to look already over here. And how organized it's really starting to be
The
over here.
library's
It's amazing.
3/4 the way empty. Now,
It's amazing.
all the shelving's gone, and there's that one big stack of books in the back
Yeah,
is still there, everything else is gone.
I forgot to go upstairs the other day. Okay, I was taking pictures and she said, you should get a picture upstairs and I got thinking of something else and didn't do it. I went up there today, nothing there.
There wasn't much there the other day.
She said there were a lot of boxes up there, so.
There was 150 boxes of
Yeah.
books,
Oh,
but that was nothing compared to the 800 that were downstairs.
But the library looks so big that today.
yeah, when it's empty,
All the
right?
bookcases and
The
everything.
movers told me when they left at their count, they think we'll be over 1,000 boxes of books.
Can you imagine
Books and
taking them out and sorting them and putting them on shelves?
getting
A lot
back
of
to
My
our
back
business,
hurts even more.
in terms of, financial, update, what you're telling us is that, you'll be getting that sometime soon from the engineers.
Not till we go to
nothing-
bid.
Nothing to add at this point.
Not till we go to bid. I got a cost matrix from them on what they estimated the engineering would cost, and it was right around that $30,000 mark.
Okay,
I can get you that exact number, but until we're done. But we won't know grant wise, full total thing until we go out to RFP and get contractors on board, which will probably be the February timeframe.
Now, is that Mike Burns or is that somebody else
We have to put it out to public bid.
So, but
It
he
could
will
be
be
Mike
bidding,
Burns.
he will be
We're
bidding.
trying to keep it in a way where he can bid for the trail.
Mhm.
I don't think he wants to bid for the parking lot, but
Okay, so there'll be other people who it's going out to bid for at least.
yeah, those will be two separate projects.
Okay.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck with the rest of the move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, we need more pretzel.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds like she's been put to work.
Well, I'm sorry, we do not have minutes to approve. Patty was going to submit those to me yesterday and she got sick on Monday. So I guess she sort of left it till the end and so hopefully we'll have them next time. But I think that's one of the key things for us to think about is we really need a regular secretary. When we're looking to maybe bring somebody new into our committee, we want people that are willing to do stuff. Be secretary, somebody help us with fundraising. I think it's likely that we're gonna need to do a little more fundraising. According to Meredith, when I spoke with her, we budgeted 20,000. And she was saying 27,000 is what the engineering is gonna be, but now we're saying 30. So
So
it may
we
not be a
budgeted-
huge fundraiser, but sounds like it's gonna be at minimum of 10,000.
I guess I'm still pretty ignorant about the money side of things, because I thought there was a grant for 150,000. And so, but he's saying most of it will get eaten up in the execution of the parking lot. So the 30,000, they're still been expecting to be various construction parts of it to cost over 100,000 is what you're
It's
saying?
a matching grant.
There was a match, that was fundraised for, and I think total, it's not, just somewhat over 250K. But it sounds to me like most, if not all of that, will get eaten up by the engineering and the two construction projects.
So that it will come to like, so I guess I'm trying to figure out what's already kind of covered by whatever we've done so far.
I'm a little confused on it myself,
Okay.
so I'm not probably gonna be a very.
Do you have some sense?
I don't have, other than what I heard from Doug and Ed, which is
Right.
a bit nebulous.
Do you, Liam, have some idea of what the scoop is around finances and grants and how this works?
All I know about the grant is you need to, spend, 25% of the total budget before you can apply for reimbursement, is what I know of it. So,
Right,
to my
and it's up
knowledge,
to
we haven't-
150,000 can be reimbursed.
I was confused by whether it was 25% of grant plus the matching or just 25% of the grant. It's kind of hard to read in the grant, approval documents that we've
Oh.
got.
So who is the grant from?
That's
It's,
So that's a federal grant for 150,000, but we have to match it. So we
we
have,
have matched it.
Yes. It was,
We
I
have
think, 125 and 125. Right,
so
250
250.
total.
So we need to spend possibly up to 25% of our piece before they'll
Thought it-
match.
The way I read it was that it was 25% of the way it reads in the grant, is 25% of the total grant.
That shouldn't be any problem once they get started with construction.
right,
And I don't think you'll have a problem, it's just a matter of quarter, I don't know about grants, Ed does, whether it be better at this point to submit for a big chunk rather than a multiple smaller percentages, I don't know. I'm not familiar with grant, processes, that would be Ed, and Elisa and Doug have been going around on keeping track of, the money, that has been, raised for that project.
Kate, I'm sorry, go ahead, Kate.
Well, when I first put my hand up, I'm going back through the notes I've taken over the last months. And
Okay.
in June, for that meeting, we had $244,523 available to spend. And that included the grant money, the matching money, and something that was raised specifically for the Mirsky, piece, trees, whatever they were gonna be. All right, so that sounds like we had, raised about 2/3 of the match, because it was a $150,000 grant, right? And Doug was saying we had 244. All right, that's number one. Number two, my understanding was that it was 25% of, we can ask them for 25% or more of the grant when we meet the requirements, having committed it, spent it, but also having matched it. So we could ask for about what's 150, about 35,000 if we had 35,000 matched and we had, committed to spending 70. That's how I understand it, but that doesn't mean I'm completely right. Okay.
I think the nature of it
That's
is
how I read it
confusing.
also, the total amount of money that was involved, which was, they would reimburse 50% of it, but the total was 250,000. You need to spend 25% of that, like Kate said, quick math is 34,000 or something like that, that has to be spent before you can submit for reimbursement of half of that.
Now, my
That makes
understanding is that that in the Mersky fund is 5,200, the last I,
Right, and that's not, that shouldn't be in,
that.
that
well,
should not
that's-
be included in,
It might be included in a match though.
okay.
It was simply included in his report, that's all. You know, Doug's report at that time.
It might be designated for the Mersky Grove,
Yeah.
but it may be, I think it may be included as part of the match.
It could be, I would agree.
But that's helpful, Liam and Kate, as far as that basically we have to have spent and be able to verify that we've spent, $35,000 or so before the feds will reimburse us half.
Right, so once you've spent the engineering budget, you'll be there, cause there's been some other monies that have been spent.
I'm sure. Mike Burns, whatever.
Mike Burns, the bike rack, a few other things.
Some of the smaller amounts that added into that, so I think, my gut feeling was that once the engineering money was spent, then there'd be enough to apply for reimbursement.
And they'll probably invoice us quite soon if they're finishing with the work.
Yes. And Doug and Elisa were the ones who were really, I don't handle any money for the town, you know what I mean? So the Elisa and Doug were the ones who were keeping track of that. Elisa usually asks me at the end of the year, have we applied for any reimbursements? She wants to know.
Yeah.
Because she's looking at money.
Mhm.
And end of year kinds of issues.
Yeah, looking at accounts and looking at things that I don't have authority to do any of that stuff, so.
So go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well,
Jerry.
just repeat myself, which I tend to do, but Doug and Elisa would be the ones right now
Yeah,
who
so
know
at
what
this
money
point,
has
with
been spent.
Doug, departure imminent. Next
We should
month-
get a
next
summary
month.
from him.
We need to have whoever's gonna be taking over that financial role,
We need
to
somebody to do that.
get updated.
We need someone to replace Doug, if that's even possible.
It's not possible, but
I know.
help with some of those functions.
And,
Yeah, we're gonna really lose
we need a
out.
secretary.
But the fundraising piece that both Doug and Meredith did, boy,
Yeah, well, Doug was, he's a banker, so he's, and he has no problems approaching people for money, which I certainly am not good at that. Don't wanna venture into that. So when we're thinking of adding to our committee, we need to think of the positions that we need. We need doers. We need somebody to be a secretary, someone to work on the treasury, someone to be either a vice chair or chair. I mean, I am the vice chair and I'm sort of assuming the role, but I don't really relish it. My husband is an alternate to represent the MLA. And he can come on.
And he's willing to,
He's willing to. He's sick, so.
Now, what area would he be interested in?
secretary, treasurer, or fundraiser?
He does secretary for the MLA, but I'm not sure he would relish that, but
Yeah,
we'd have to,
fundraising is my better area. I'm already the treasurer of three things, are very active right now. And, but one thing I'll say no to is secretary.
yes,
That's
just,
my only thing that I do,
yes.
say no to.
I mean, it sounds like you have, my financial skills are just not in the range that I'd want to handle something like that. But if you have those skills and capacity in other roles, if you're able to take that additional on, that might make some sense.
At this time, it'd be difficult, because I've got a big,
Yeah, I know.
libraries are gonna be a big
Right.
thing. And, I will need to work with the Secretary of State on, it's
Okay.
gonna take a lot of
I
my
mean,
time.
I'm not surprised at that
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah,
But-
But I don't
think
mind
in your
helping.
head of people that would be also very interested in the park
Yeah.
and seeing the
Well, I
park
think there's
get
a lot of
finished.
people that would be,
Yeah, but also willing to be workers,
right.
doers.
Yeah, I mean, we
We
should probably.
That's what we need to be thinking.
We should probably do just a broad, who would be interested, and then what roles could we ask them to do, based on their skill sets.
Can I have you all explored the idea of having the financial part done by an town employee?
I don't think we qualify for that, but.
Well, I think you probably do. Like
Well,
with
I'm just
old-
thinking it's a
Not
town
to do the
something,
fundraising.
and it's going to be hard to find a CPA, accountant, lawyer, somebody with those skills, banker type. I would just wondered if there isn't somebody, working for the town that might assume that. Excuse me.
I think there's two distinct roles there.
Right.
One is,
Accountant.
one is the accountant bookkeeping sort of thing, and the town could easily do that. They do
Right,
it for-
they already do it.
And an advisory group, we're responsible for that anyway.
Cause at this point, I assume that Doug gets his numbers from the town.
He's been trying to, and he's been very frustrated.
Yes.
And
In
then
that
the-
process.
And then the other is fundraising, which is an entirely separate skill set. And social.
And I know a good person for fundraising, but I don't think he'll come on board. That's Bob.
Bob,
Bob.
Oh, you don't think he'll come?
I don't think he will. He was on this committee briefly, maybe 4 years ago.
I know, he's been calling everybody. It's like he stepped forward a bit in terms of being more aware.
Hey, can you mute?
For you, he actually ended up asking his son.
Are we able to mute?
That his pipes haven't frozen yet, so. He did tell me you have.
Beavers,
There we go.
they live on the lake. Do you know them?
Thank you.
I know the
I
name.
didn't know I could do that. I would have done it sooner, but.
They seemed very enthusiastic and, again, seem to know, I feel like I don't know that many people. I'm too much of an introvert, so I don't have.
They've come to some of the workshops, so some
The
of the work
gardening,
days.
they're very interested, I think, in the gardens and the
Savings.
lake as a park. And I think they've been quite enthusiastic, but I don't know much about them, other than
Okay.
they've been very personable and,
That's a good start.
and it's they both husband and wife came and they both seemed
Okay.
very bright and capable and,
Okay.
but I don't know, I think it's Susie Weaver.
It is Sue Weaver, and I'm trying to remember his name, but I have him, they volunteered for the Loon census.
Yeah, I have it written down somewhere.
Yeah, I do too. I think I probably do there right now.
But I'm terrible with names, so anyway, but they seem to, like, they might be people who, again,
Yeah. Well, that's what I think it will all,
Hey, Kate, we
everybody.
muted you while you were away.
See if I can.
now
unmute.
she has to be on.
We muted you while you were away on the phone.
Always seem to be very interested in the finances. I wonder if she'd be interested.
She's looking to get off the committee. From what I
Oh, she is?
Yes.
Oh, dear.
Just a second.
It's not letting me, unmute her.
Hey, unmute yourself.
I think it's me. I think once you mute her, I can't unmute her is my problem.
I can.
There we go.
Okay, there you go.
Yay, you're back.
She's
You're
back.
back.
All right. Thank you, Dave, for that. I'm sorry about that. It was a phone call I had to take. So just,
Understood. We know you have to, you're doing other things.
I am doing another job. What did you decide? While I
We
was
haven't
gone.
decided anything. We were kind of racking our brain for names of people we might, who might be good candidates as a fundraiser, treasurer, or secretary from the community that might be available and interested.
Hey, do you want to talk what we talked about?
Yeah, well, that's not me. I'll tell you for sure. Not a fundraiser. I mean, I don't have that background. You need somebody we need Doug basically. So we need a replacement for Doug. And I don't think we're going to get it on the committee. I think we're going to recruit somebody or employ somebody or,
Does Doug have ideas? If anybody asked Doug,
Doug, yeah, you might.
because he would know who else does. I call it schmoozing, but that may be considered derogatory. I don't know.
Kate? Can you
say
hear
it.
me?
What?
You have done a commendable job of secretary when you've taken over that role. Here,
6 months from now, it's possible. I'm sorry, Doug. The bottom line is, and I don't know that the others know this, I'm a full-time caretaker right now for my partner. Seriously, there is no way I can take on anything. There's a part of me that wants to resign from the committee, but instead what's going to happen is Sally's going to spell me now and then. Okay, so no, I cannot take on anything right now. And if that means there's a spot that you want to give to somebody else, I can live with that. Problem is finding someone.
I just wanted to get that out for, so everybody knew.
Okay,
about
yeah. My partner has been in rehab since August. He has Parkinson's and he broke his hip, a double break, you know, and right now he's 80% recovered from the hip break, not from Parkinson's. And seriously, I'm a full-time caretaker. Okay.
Has Sally agreed to spell you?
Spell you as caretaker or,
No, spell you on the committee. As
I
as
don't think we can do that
No,
without
we
her
can,
being.
we'd have to run it through the committee. but-
We'd have to
Yeah,
run it.
and it was something about being an alternative, but somebody else already said that it was your husband, Bud, that's the, you know, an
You have
alternate.
more than one alternate.
Yeah.
We need to recruit a couple new members, bottom line, all right? And David asked me to speak to Sally. And she's not eager to take my place, but if I, you know, for the obvious reasons. But if I am desperate, she'll attend a meeting and take notes or something. Okay. I will actively look for a replacement.
To have it count for a quorum.
I've also mentioned Deb Parker, who again, I don't know a lot of people, but she's in my neighborhood and I've mentioned her before because her kind of at-home job, she works from home, is as a sign maker. And, I mean, she does it for colleges. She does, you know, she'll take the job of the entire campus, all their signage. So that
Oh, okay.
so she has experience, business related to an organization, you know, meeting needs, so forth. So she might be somebody who would have time and skills, but I don't know whether she would fill in as a secretary. I guess that would be the question.
Can I ask one other thing? We're a subcommittee of the select persons, right?
What?
Who does, we are
By-
a committee of the select board.
No,
This committee is a subcommittee.
We're an advisory committee
to the town.
to the town, the select
Okay.
board.
Okay.
Select board's separate.
When I signed something recently for the town, I thought it said subcommittee, but okay, we're an advisory committee. My question is, who handles their finances? Is there a town treasurer?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's like Old Home Days. They handle the town treasurer handles Old Home Days. All I do is check with her and get a report, how much we spent and how much,
Well, that's what Doug has been so frustrated with, that he hasn't been able to
I
get.
found it very, I don't understand that, but,
I think his expectations were of more detailed reporting, as you could expect from a banker.
I guess so.
but
Okay.
a report goes out, every month for every committee there is. There's a written sheet that tells what's been spent and what hasn't.
But he's not
Everyone
getting
gets that.
anything like that, I gather. And maybe it's because we're an advisory group and therefore we don't have the same.
We don't have the same budget. We don't have a budget that we're responsible for. That all goes through the town. I don't know the details of that.
I think we need to get I'll get some sort of summary from Doug to bring to the meeting.
Right.
If he's not coming to the January meeting, which I hope he does.
I hope it can come on January. We should-
Because
If Meredith is sort of stable by then, maybe.
Because we don't get, the Old Home Days Committee doesn't get any budget from the town. We have always raised every penny that we've made, that we've used.
But you run it through the town.
But the town keeps the money.
Yeah,
And
what's
it's
the
in
same
the
here.
town report.
Yeah.
But,
Okay.
it's always come from fundraising.
All right, so maybe what we'll do is just everybody sort of put their thinking caps on over the next 4 weeks and think of people that might be good contributors to this group.
Yeah.
You know, just, I think it's important that we do that.
Are you involved with the Mascoma Lake Association?
I am a member. I am no
You're not-
longer president or anything.
You're not there at meetings?
No,
No.
no, I'm not on the board. My husband is on the board.
I just, because maybe you could ask him if there are, because I know like Carrie, Lovejoy is a new person there.
Right.
On that group. And there may be others that I don't know of, but who may have some of the skills that we're looking for. And so it's Bud.
Well, that's what Bob Barr was on that. He's treasurer.
Yeah.
And his field is fundraising. But they're very good friends of mine, and I don't want to put pressure on him.
And
But
he's a consultant. I mean, he's helped, he's a consultant.
the Shaker Museum, and
Yes.
he's done the Aquatic Center. He's been
I mean-
doing a lot of stuff.
Mm.
He just
He
also
did-
got a new
We
replacement.
might be able to, I mean, one approach to that, if we feel like we want to have that, might be instead of just submitting a report to us for review at each committee meeting, rather than actually being a member of the committee. You know, as a consultant or I mean, not an employee because we would be paying, but, and
Or if we get to the point where we say, oh, we desperately need to raise another $30,000, would you come and just help us with that project? And not be,
Advises.
Yeah.
You know, rather than sitting.
So we can-
An advisor to the advisory committee.
there you go.
Jerry, what was his name? What was that person's name?
Bob Barr,
Say it again.
Bob Barr.
Okay. Oh, Patricia Barr.
BARR.
Yeah, okay. So because we had somebody financial come a year and a half, 2 years ago, and he wanted to be paid. And it was somebody from town. I can look back and find who it was.
I don't
Yeah.
think it was Bob, but
Well, I think we're at a point where we don't have the finances.
we're not paying
to
anybody.
pay anybody, but.
Right, no, I know. It's just, what
Yeah,
Meredith approached this person about helping us with fundraising. And then they submitted sort of a proposal where they would get paid. I'm not saying we want to do that. I'm saying it sounded like the same person. That's all, you know.
is that
I don't know. I don't remember that.
Larry or-
I don't remember that. I remember he and Ed McLaughlin were trying to work together.
What about Edmund Blunt?
He's
gone.
moved.
Yeah.
Moved away.
Very quickly. He
I was
lives in
gonna say-
Sunapee. I didn't realize it till I called on
I
him or
know.
something.
He got fed up with the financial stuff of the town,
Well, that was maybe only a little part of it.
I'm sure.
Okay, so let's table that, but we need to bring that up for next month, okay?
And I will
Replacements.
look up who they approached before. I will look up who that was that Meredith approached. I
And
can do
and
that.
the other question that we should consider is, does this committee need to be a committee of 9? Could it be a committee of 7 or 5?
That's true.
And be.
I don't think it needs to be 9 personally,
As effective.
but I do think we need a designated secretary.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because the fight every meeting for somebody to take minutes is just not worth it.
So that's the main thing we need to look for.
Yeah, and somebody just sort of be willing to sort of keep track of the finances, even if they're not doing fundraising,
Yeah.
for Doug.
So who will approach Doug about, being able to do a transition?
I will talk to Doug.
My recollection of Doug was that he did say in one of the meetings that the park is fully funded for the grant money, so. I don't believe, I thought Kate thought we had needed, another 5,000 or something to meet
That's,
the total match, but my recollection is Doug said that we were fully funded.
that's.
Yeah, I remember that.
I think his concern is that this is gonna cost more than.
Yes,
what the
we're gonna be
grant
grant.
Match.
Yeah,
And I think we're going to be needing to either, and that's the other thing I think we're going to need is somebody who can help with grant writing. When, at some point I had to talk with Doug, there are a lot of other grants out there that are specifically interested in, conservation kinds of things. And because we have our shoreline, as long as we're, the part of the park that's going to be more nature oriented, especially before we get started committing ourselves to too much. There are grants for all kinds of things that are education, conservation, ecology, and I've got lists. I forget how you go down this rabbit hole looking on things online, but I ended up with all these grant things, and Doug was interested, but again, it was sort of like, well, this will be of interest, when we get to that point, kind of thing. And I do have some of that written down, but I'm not experienced though with grant writing or maintenance.
I mean, I think Ed
Having a
has
grant person.
quite a lot of experience. in grants.
And Patty was finding some grants.
I think that there's, that, I mean, maybe bring them to some ideas of this subject or that subject for a
So
grant.
my point is that besides fundraising, grant writing could be the other way we approach getting more funding.
Right.
We might want to do both, but grant writing may be an important thing to look for a person.
A skill, if somebody had that skill set.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, grant.
Okay, so
I'm just,
focus on people that
And
maybe
that's
can
what
help
we
with
have to be
grants.
careful of, it's like you say, we want to focus, take it slow, kind of be carefully and get people that can do these things that we need.
And that want to and have the time.
Right.
Yeah.
And not just have.
A lot of people love the park, but they just don't have
Right.
the time or commitment to put in those hours. Okay, so financial update, need to talk, yeah, we talked about that. The grant update was from Ed. Patty had asked me to put Native American Garden on the agenda, so we'll defer that till she's here.
I think the only thing the infrastructure committee has to report is that the snowmobile clubs put up the lines around the pavilion to protect that, and did that on their own without even before I got the chance to remind them and
Well,
ask.
that's perfect.
So as it's done and seems to be holding so far.
So is there anything we need to be doing right now?
I'll keep an eye on it. If I need to pump a stake back in or something like that, that'll. Yeah. We're down there most days to walk the dog.
Anybody have any other thing they want to discuss?
Move to adjourn?
So what date is our next meeting?
January 4th, I believe. Is the next meeting. Excuse me. 3rd.
right away after the
And
meeting.
that's on a Wednesday still.
Yes, all the meetings will be on Wednesday and for the foreseeable future, they'll all be here. So Wednesday at 3:30 on the 3rd. And then we can say we're adjourned as of 4:25. I wish you all a wonderful holiday.
You as well.
I'm gonna come back and see what they do to your picture.
They put my face on the highway department put the tree up this week, and I said, oh, you need an angel on top. And then
They
I
put your
came
picture
in there,
Yeah,
they're all
in
in
the
there,
middle of a star.
and they all started clapping, and I'm like, what's going on here? And they said, look behind you, and they had, I think Chantel had made a sign, she had actually done it, but I think it was their idea to put it up there, so.
Well, isn't that nice? It sounds like you have a great working relationship.
We have a good building here, we do.
That's
Yeah,
nice.
It's,
Do they pick on you for other things too?
well, this is kind of my initiation, let's say. I'm coming up on 3 years, working, in this building now, and, I'm finally, fully vested as part of the group, yeah.
When you get to be an angel on the tree.
Yeah, really. That's over and beyond. Wish you a nice holiday, Kate.
Thank
Okay.
you. I wish the same to all of you. All right.
Yeah.
Good luck with the caretaking. I know it's a big challenge.
at the moment, but it's going to get better.
Good. One step at a time.
You take
Okay.
care.
Yep, all of you take care. I don't know how to sign off. I guess I leave, right? There we go. Goodbye.
It says stop or